So, if you come across this video, the chances are that you're probably in year 11 or year 12 and are planning to study medicine at university, or if not, just considering it as a career possibility later on. Now, in this video, I am not trying to convince you that medicine is the completely right choice for you because it depends on the person. For instance, a few of my friends decided to choose engineering and I decided to choose medicine, which is my personal preference. But in this video, I'll be explaining as to why I chose medicine and why, and my thought process throughout that and my journey. And I'll be also explaining what various activities or experiences you can undertake to see as to whether it's suitable for you. So this video will be split into three different sections. Firstly, the idea of experience. What experiences you can undertake. And now this is split into active and passive experience, which I'll go on later on. But mainly the idea that the experiences that you can undertake to find out that medicine is really suitable for you and whether you're in a position that okay you want to progress forwards or do you want to take a gap and perhaps think of a different career. It's up to you entirely, but these are the experiences I that helped me in deciding whether medicine is right for me. Secondly, the idea of reflection, the idea that you are realistic with choosing a career as medicine, the idea that it's not always just always about money, the idea that you're not always saving people. There's a lot to medicine, and the interview book, which some of you may know, is really great about this and really gives an honest overview of what medicine is like. As students, when applying for interviews, really need to know that. And it's not really just about saving lives and about trying to help people. There's also various aspects that are less commonly talked about, such as, for example, teaching, which is another real aspect as to why I want to do medicine. And thirdly, the last section will be about personal accounts. So this is about why I want to do medicine personally and my journey through this. I'll be explaining the various steps and process I did in order to reach this stage. So firstly, let's talk about experience. What experiences you can undertake to see whether medicine is of interest to you. So there's two different methods that I talked about: active experiences and passive experiences, or it can be a mixture of both. So active experiences is when, as said by the name, you actively go and try and undertake this experience. For instance, work experience. And I understand because of the COVID pandemic, it can be quite difficult to do this, especially because of all the regulations and everything, and the risk of getting COVID itself is kind of a massive issue. However, needless to say, there are various online platforms which I strongly recommend, such as ObserveGP, which I myself did when I was applying for medicine, and also the idea of Brighton Sussex work experience. There's also various other active experiences which are less commonly talked about, for instance, MOOCs. I think MOOCs and work experiences are honestly great because they really give you an insight into not only the practical aspects of medicine through work experiences, but also the academic side. Because with MOOCs, it gives you really like university level work, but slowly progresses you forwards and really is appealing. It can be quite difficult at sometimes, but at the end when you finish it, it's really quite rewarding. Secondly, the idea of passive experiences. Now, this can be reading a book, books such as Do No Harm by Henry Marsh. I cannot recommend this book anymore. It's such a great book, and I highly recommend people to read this. I think it's really a book which I wouldn't say fully inspired me, but was perhaps the step towards it because I really got interested in this and I really understood the various responsibilities that a doctor has. The idea that at 1 minute a doctor could be talking to his patients and talking friendly with them, building good rapport, relationships with them, and suddenly, all of a sudden, his colleague or um, medical student has perhaps done something mistake and a patient's life is at risk. The ups and downs in medicine, it's really quite drastic in medicine, and we really don't really understand that as students. However, through work experiences I mentioned, which is active, we get more understanding of this, and even through passive experiences such as the reading the book, there's various experiences that were quite daunting to say the least, and how a person's life can be changed all of a sudden. For instance, one example where I believe the registrar accidentally cut the vagus nerve of the patient, leading to the patient being completely paralyzed for life. And this could have been easily avoided with just one simple step of obviously not cutting the wrong nerve. And it really shows how risky medicine is, but also how rewarding it can be. The idea that that potential of saving someone's life. Another passive experience which people might do is listening to a podcast. I think listening to a podcast is really great because you can do it wherever you like. For example, in a car, you can listen to a podcast at home, etc. It's really easy to do, and there's many podcasts on Spotify that you can find out and are really quite good. For example, Inside Health is amazing podcast. It's really good and really educational in terms of the various aspects involved, and I highly recommend it. So, quickly to summarize experiences, there's active, passive, and both. So, active experiences being work experiences and the idea of you actively going to do this experience. Another form of active experience could perhaps be a family member. The idea that the reason why you want to do medicine is because something that's happened in your past experiences to a family member or to yourself even, which has really made you understand how important medicine is or why you really want to do it and helps you progress forwards. I think that's really key, something that really resonates with you. And if someone were to ask in an interview, why do you want to study medicine? And you can give this answer, then I highly recommend that this is the reason why, and you progress forwards with it. And also the idea of passive experiences that I mentioned, reading a book, listening to a podcast, or the idea of going to a lecture. I think lectures are amazing. Obviously, it's harder to do now online, hence why I've not mentioned as active, but you can do it passively through various online lectures. I personally attended many lectures and found them very, very useful. And so I think I highly recommend it, and I'll develop more on this when I talk about my personal accounts. Okay, secondly, let's talk about reflection. So, we need to reflect upon what we've learned. So within medicine, we obviously know it's a rewarding career, the idea that you're involved in patients' lives and can really make a significant impact upon them. For instance, in my work experience, I was given the opportunity to talk to various patients and develop good rapport, etc. So this is my reflection of my work experience, for instance. However, you also need to be realistic with the approach. The idea that medicine, it can't exactly just be done within 3 years like a normal standard course. It can take 5 years, or for example, other unis 6 years, including the compulsory BSc or optional at other unis. And so you need to be realistic. Do you think that you'll be able to study all through these 6 years and really be able to enjoy it? Because at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy it, you won't be able to do the really a study at university. And so it's really important that you do your research fully, find the advantages and disadvantages of medicine, and think, is this right for me? Another aspect which I think is really useful and which was a privilege of my school is the idea of medical society. So at my school, I had a medical society in which various students got together. So we had students the year above and us as well, and we just talked about what their approach was to medicine is and as to why they thought about it. And I think just by talking to them, we got a more understanding of medicine accompanied with our active and passive experiences. And through the summation of these experiences, we really understood whether medicine is right for us or whether it's not. And I think that's really key. The idea that you reflect upon everything that you've learned and really think about whether you want to study medicine at university or if there's something else that you want to do because of it. The idea of benefits, for instance, that really appeals to me is the idea of teaching. I think teaching is honestly great, and I really like the idea of being able to help the younger students or help the next generation and really be able to pass my knowledge on to them. Having tutored before, I think this is really great and would love to do so as a doctor. Other aspects of medicine, the idea of being involved in patients' lives and developing good rapport with them, but this is another key benefit of doctors. However, I do understand that there are disadvantages to studying medicine. The idea that it can be stressful at some times. For instance, there's emotional and physical stress involved within medicine. The idea of having to deal with the patient's loss is overwhelming, not only for the doctor because he has to deal with his patient's surgery, but then afterwards he has to tell the family members as to what happened. And I can only imagine how overwhelming this can feel for the doctor. And I understand this having seen various incidents such as this in my work experience, and I'm more reflective about this for when I apply for medicine. Also, obviously, the physical stress of having long working hours in a day and the idea of having to work for many days in a row, etc. So now moving on from experiences and reflection. These two sections are basically what you can do and reflect upon so that you can excel further and really find out whether medicine is right for you. The key aspect, if there's one thing that I want you to learn from this video, is you do your research and find out whether medicine is for you. Because at the end of the day, I can give you all the guidance that I have and my experiences, but it's really what's suited to you. Because I like teaching, but for example, you might like the research aspect. You might be like you might not like the stressful physical hours, and therefore you might think of a different job. You might I enjoy reading books. You might enjoy listening to podcasts. Either way, you need to find out what you like and really be able to progress forwards in this, in really being able to appreciate medicine and thinking of it as a future career. So now moving on to personal accounts. So when did my interest in medicine start? Okay. So I was initially interested in medicine in around year 11, and medicine was not the only career I was thinking of. I was thinking of medicine, chemistry, and also economics, which are quite broad specialties, but I was taking all these subjects, the subjects required for this at the time. So firstly, I understand with medicine that it's not something that you can easily change your mind and then suddenly you'll have an amazing portfolio and you can easily get into any medical school. You need to spend a lot of time building up your portfolio, such as work experience, volunteering at care home, etc. And so I understood this. But firstly, I didn't really know much about these volunteering experiences, etc. And all I really know is that there was a medical society at school. So I decided to attend it. I was like, why not? I'm slightly interested in medicine, having read various books. So I thought, why not attend medical society in school? And now, having attended was perhaps the best idea I had. Because by attending medical society in school, I could talk to the teacher involved. I could also talk to various students in the years above. And talking to them, I got more understanding of medicine and what it really is like. And they recommended various things. For instance, they recommended various lectures to attend, and I decided to attend these lectures and found them really interesting. Some obviously more interesting than others. For instance, I found a high altitude lecture fascinating because of its potential aptitude and how it can help people, and decided to do an extended project on this. The idea that at high altitude you can potentially save a person's life, but also the idea that a person's life is risk is something that was really appealing to me, and I decided thus to do further research. And I think small things like this, by attending medical society, I was able to progress this forwards, and I don't think that would have happened if hadn't I not attended. Furthermore, the idea of by attending medical society in school, I really wanted to, as I get interested, so I want to know how would I apply for medical schools. I was then told about how the importance of a good personal statement, work experience, and the idea of perhaps volunteering at care. Now, all of this seemed a bit too much for me. I was like, I'm just starting to get interested in medicine. I don't really know whether it's for me, so why should I really do it? And one of the key things that our school did, which I'm very grateful for, is that for 1 week we had a mandatory work experience in year 11, which so I decided to undertake work experience, and I had known my family members, so I had to go through the online procedure of having to fill out the work experience forms, etc., and was able to secure work experience at a hospital. And this was really the changing experience because I enjoyed that work experience a lot. I was able to talk to many patients from many different backgrounds and really create good rapport. I was even able to help a person through various ways, which I mentioned in later videos. And I think it was really great experience. I not only saw people, but I was able to see various procedures. So that was really the pivoting point in me deciding that medicine is suitable for me and I want to progress forwards with it. So having done work experience at a hospital, I decided to further enhance my portfolio by volunteering at care home. I think this was really important because by volunteering at care home, I was able to talk to many people from different backgrounds and really understand where they're coming from. I think that's really key. The idea that it really made me understand how important it is to listen to other people and communicate with them because of their fears and other underlying conditions that they have. And I think it was a really rewarding experience to both undertake work experience and also volunteering at the care home. Furthermore, I think if I was to summarize my personal experiences, it starts with little steps. The idea of slowly attending medical society every week, reading various books such as Do No Harm by Henry Marsh or Life at the Extremes by Francis Ashcroft really helped me progress towards choosing medicine. As a result, I was able to do an extended project qualification, undertake work experience, and also volunteer at care home. And as a result, because of this, I was able to choose that medicine is the right career choice for me, and this is what I want to do further on. So, overall, to summarize this video, I think you need to choose whether medicine is right for you. There are various experiences that can really help, as I mentioned before, the active and passive experiences, and then you need to reflect upon yourself whether you were able to cope with the disadvantages of medicine because the benefits clearly outweigh it, or vice versa for you. Overall, I hope this video really helped, and hopefully there'll be many more medical applicants in the years to come. Thank you for watching. So I wanted to quickly add, because I forgot to mention it before, but I think studying medicine is really enjoyable experience. The idea that you can make a difference to a person's life simply by communicating to them is amazing. The idea that when I volunteered at care home and simply talked to the patients and they started smiling really had a positive impact upon me. That despite not having experience or being at that level of a doctor, I was still able to make an impact on the patient. I think that's really the key aspect of medicine. The idea that you're always able to, with it, you're always able to help patients with the intention that you're doing your best. The idea that you're trying to create a positive impact upon a person is amazing in itself. And I think that's the key aspect of medicine. The idea that you're not only doing it for your own interest, but you're helping others and really giving back to society. And that's why I think medicine is a really great career.